This video was made possible by the EA Creator Network. Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I'm back with another speed build, and we are building a functional cat cafe using the new Businesses and Hobbies Expansion Pack. I feel like cat cafes are a thing that I'm often requested to build in the game, and I've done one in the past, like years ago now, but now that we can actually run our own businesses and live above them using the newest expansion pack, it was about time to create another one. And Businesses and Hobbies is now officially out for everyone, so if you are thinking about picking it up, please consider using my creator code Gryphi at checkout. You just enter it when making a purchase on the EA app. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a way to support me as a creator, so I would receive a 5% commission on that purchase. So thank you in advance if you decide to use my code on this pack or any future purchases, and thank you to EA for sponsoring this portion of the video. So of course I decided to build this cat cafe in Brindleton Bay, which is the world that comes with the Cats and Dogs expansion pack, and I'm actually building this on the Catscratch Cottage, which is this little lot on the pier that regularly belongs to Katarina Lynx, who is a cat lady in this pack. So I thought this would be the perfect place. You could either have this run by Katarina, or you could have your other Sims move in and run this cafe, or just visit it. The idea was to have a functional cat cafe. It does have an apartment above it, and there's also a storage attic space here. And I really just wanted it to fit into the environment, but still utilize a lot of the new stuff that came with the latest pack. And you might find this build a little familiar if you do follow me over on Twitch, as I did stream this there first. I did most of the build then. I didn't finish the apartment and the attic, but the entire downstairs was completed on stream. So if you'd like to follow in the future, I do stream occasionally over on twitch.tv/Gryphi. I would love to have you join us. And I'm hoping to get back to uploading my stream VODs over on my second channel, More Gryphi, which should be linked in the description. At this point, I figured out the general shape of the build. I'm just not sure on the windows, and I really loved the blue windows that I put on the bottom floor, so I really wanted to bring in some of that wallpaper so it looks like it blends in. And then I'm trying a few different window options for upstairs, but I knew I wanted blue on the bottom and brick on the top, and I just wanted it to look kind of colorful but cute and blend into the area. I do really wish we had a floor tile that matched this dock area. We don't, but I picked the closest one I could find, and the inside of this build ends up being so incredibly colorful. There is so much pink, blue, yellow, purple. You're gonna see it's just a very fun interior, which makes sense for a cat cafe, for it to be like bubbly and colorful. So I really hope you'll enjoy it. But the outside is very much blue and yellow. I really liked how the yellow flower boxes matched with the like teal color I have on the outside, and I really wanted to use the new awnings that came with Businesses and Hobbies. So just doing that now, and there's going to be a bump out on one side of the build, and I also really wanted to use these new umbrellas that came with the pack, and they actually worked really nicely with a couple of the tables that came with Cats and Dogs. So you'll see that in a little bit. But right now I'm just adding some more windows and figuring out all of the roof trim and getting little extra details. I also decided to wrap the windows around this side, and a really fun thing that I ended up adding here is there's a small catio for the cats, which is going to be right here, and it's only really accessible to employees and cats. It's not a place the like customers can go into. I wanted to have like a space that was more private for the cats to get away when they don't feel like socializing with strangers. So I do have that. They also have their own like private bathroom room, which is full of litter boxes, which I thought was kind of fun. And then there is going to be a bathroom for guests as well, and the cafe space, lots of seating, and then upstairs is going to be a fully functional apartment that is just a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. But I do imagine the sim that lives here probably at least owns one cat if they run a cat cafe. So I did include stuff upstairs for a cat as well. I've never actually been to a cat cafe, but I really want to at some point. However, I feel like I'm going to be tempted to adopt another animal if I go to a cat cafe. I know a lot of them end up having cats that are up for adoption at them, as are a lot of the other like pet cafes they have. And I definitely can't get another cat right now. If you didn't know, I already have a cat. I also have a dog and 2 bunnies. And so that's a lot for a small apartment. And I definitely don't need more. However, I do love cats, and I feel like now's a good time to tell you about my cat. I mean, this is a cat cafe video. If you don't like cats, you probably did not click on this. I do sometimes post pictures of her over on my Blue Sky or on like Instagram and stuff like that. And sometimes she's on my streams on Twitch as well, but her name is Louise, or Lulu for short. She is named after Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers because she's got that same chaotic energy. She's a fluffy gray cat with one eye, and she's got a lot of energy and a lot of sass. So a little bit about my cat. I would love to know if you have one, and also if you've ever been to a cat cafe. Let's discuss that in the comments, or any other pets you have. I love talking about animals. I also really love this debug bike situation that we got with Businesses and Hobbies. It has like a place place for your bikes to be hooked up, like chained up so nobody takes them. And I just think that's so realistic and nice to have. I like adding bikes in front of my builds. So I'm glad there's a debug one so you don't have to just place a bunch of functional ones. And then you don't have to worry about Sims just taking them if you want those to decoratively just stay there. So I quite enjoyed placing that down. And I'm also figuring out a rug for the front. There's like a welcome mat that's like Cats Welcome from Cats and Dogs. I put that. Here are the tables I end up using out front. I think I only end up having 2 of them potentially, maybe 3. Because I primarily wanted your Sims to stay inside because you're probably going to want to interact with the cats, not sit outside. But I thought it looked nice to have a couple of tables out here. And I am using some of the new chairs from Businesses and Hobbies. There's a couple of new chairs from the pack, and I think they're quite nice. And there's a little bit of parking. I also put a couple of different posters in the windows. And as I find things I think I want to use, I'm just kind of throwing them somewhere. And I think we're about to finally start working on the interior of this build after I extend the attic to make the roofline symmetrical on the back of the build. It just made sense to me to do that. So I'm just quickly doing that, grabbing all of the same roof pieces. Although I don't think I grabbed them. Oh, I do grab the windows right away. I was going to say, I was pretty sure I did that later, but oh well. I guess I remembered incorrectly. But the outside is pretty much done now. Just going to get some more flowers and then we will be heading into the cafe, which is my favorite part of this build, I think. I really like the apartment too. It's just so colorful and bright and it's just really fun. I feel like sometimes I go back and forth on whether or not I do really colorful builds. And so this one felt refreshing. I also ended up using the kitty tile. If you're not familiar with the kitty tile, there is a cat tile that came with Snowy Escape. And it's very hard to use because it's a very stylized thing because there's cats on it. And it's something that my Twitch stream begs me to use all the time. And so I knew I was going to build a cat cafe. I knew I wanted to stream making it. And I was like, we're going to use the kitty tile. So that's very prominent in this build. I only use it on one wall and it's right behind the cafe area. So we will be adding that here shortly. And I think it works really nicely here. It's not something I think has ever worked really nicely in any of my builds. So I was so happy about that. It's going to be on this back wall, but we are working on the bathrooms first. There is a new toilet stall that comes with Businesses and Hobbies. It's a nice modern one. I decided to try and use it in here because it's new. We also got this chandelier. And it's in a teal color, and so I obviously had to use that in the cat cafe. I love the idea of like the over-the-top colorful stuff in here, so I really went for it. And here is that kitty tile. I do use the one with the teal on the bottom, and then I used a couple of these new like dessert display cases, which are early purchase content for this pack, and then the new counter that comes in the regular version of the pack. But if you don't have the early purchase ones, there's similar ones that came with the Get Together pack. And there's also just like a basic display case that came with Businesses and Hobbies that doesn't have cakes and stuff on it. Either of those would work. I just thought I would use these ones because they made the most sense. And I also ended up using a ton of the modular furniture in here. I thought it was the best way to do this. Oh, and this little kitty rug. I forgot that existed from high school years. So I put that right in front. We also have some colorful cat beds and a bunch of different cat trees and toys, and I put some shelves on the wall to look like they were the shelves your cats can climb on. So I put some of these decals up here to represent that. There's some of the posters from Cats and Dogs. Some look like they're more like educational about cats. Others are like just cute little posters, or maybe someone up for adoption, or like vet posters. I just think they are all so cute. And I loved the idea of it. I'm just going all out in here with color. I also brought in some kitty litter boxes into this room. I'm going to rearrange the orientation of this room in a little bit though, because I wanted to make sure there was access to the back of the building, like for employees to exit that way, for there to be a dumpster and stuff like that. I also wanted to make sure I didn't forget to put food bowls around this area so the cats can eat plenty of food. I end up actually putting one of the pet treat vending machines in here that are for the vets. Most of the treats that you stock in there are more like medicine related, but there are some other ones. And I thought it made sense to have it in a cat cafe, just like things you can purchase for the pets. So I do end up placing that in here a little bit later. And this I end up keeping in with the litter boxes, that like decal on the wall that has the white and red cats with the food can. I just thought it was really cute, but it didn't really fit the color scheme of the main area. So I did get rid of that and move it to the like litter area. But over here, I'm just getting a side table with this little kitty lamp and some flowers. I end up using quite a bit from my first pet stuff because it's one of the few packs that has a lot of cat items in it. And I just really wanted to use as much cat stuff as possible. There's also a stuffed animal in here. So if you bring like kids here, they can play with the stuffed animal as well as the cats. I think the cats will probably scratch it up, but they're going to scratch up everything in this area. So that's just kind of how it goes. I also did add some of these throw pillows on the couches to add a little bit more color and kind of tie in with the rest of the color scheme. So just getting a combination of those here. And I should be getting a cat scratcher right next to the couch as well, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and like the little wand thing that you can play with the cats with. There's also going to be a coffee table over here, which I just put some kitty treats on. We have a couple of different treat containers from cats and dogs. They could be for cats or for dogs. It doesn't really matter. I just place it down. It's not functional. It's just decor. And of course, I had to use the cat mailbox out front. And here is that treat vending machine I had mentioned before. And I'm just trying to figure out where to put this last cat bed because I changed my mind on where things were going to go. So I had to rearrange a couple of things. And then, of course, getting a burglar alarm. That's a new addition that I'm going to have to get used to adding, but I am glad to have it. So just getting a little rug right inside and then grabbing a couple more decals to put on the wall, another Catscratch thing, and I should be rearranging that kitty litter room and finishing up this bathroom. And that'll be it for the downstairs cafe portion. And then we'll move on into the apartment, which I guess is not as exciting as the cafe, but I think it looks so cute. I love the color scheme I used up there. It's very reminiscent of what we have going on down here. Lots of like fun pastel colors. And I just feel like it makes a lot of sense for the sim I imagine would probably own this cafe. And you can see I'm now moving a trash can outside. We're going to get a fence and a dumpster. So there is a place to throw out everything. And it feels just a little bit more legit that way, having a business with a dumpster out back. I also ended up using these little like paw print carpets or rugs out front and I changed the swatch. And I just thought they were really cute, like a little walkway up to the front of the building. And adding some more of this blue wallpaper behind those windows. Changing the swatch of our litter boxes. I decided to use the like robot zappy ones that like zap the poop. Because you probably don't want your Sims spending a bunch of time scooping litter. Although I think I used a regular litter box upstairs in the apartment, which made sense to me because it was a really cute one and I was going for a really cute aesthetic up here. So you'll see that. But when you first walk in, there is a living room and the bathroom. And then there's going to be the bedroom in the back corner and our kitchen in like the front. So just figuring that out now. I at first thought I was going to have like this little hallway in the middle. And for a while, I forgot that I needed stairs or a ladder or something to go up into the attic space. And I end up having a regular staircase there, but at the top of the stairs, there is a door. So I imagine like your Sims aren't just freely walking into the attic. I mean, they can, but it's a door at the top. So it's not just open to the downstairs. But anyway, I end up figuring out just like the layout of how I'm going to have things downstairs, and then we'll come back and decorate them in a little bit. I just wanted to figure out how this was working. So grabbing that wall up here and putting a door, and I should be getting a half wall as well at some point in here because there is that awkward window space. Yeah, right here. So that it doesn't look like there's just this cut off area. So yeah, just bringing in some more of that brick as well. I also got some lights up in the attic. These ones are from the laundry day pack. They just look like old lights that are not like a special fixture. And that made a lot of sense to me for an attic or a basement. So I tend to use those in that way. And I really wanted to use these base game counters in this blue swatch in here. I just feel like they match perfectly for the vibe I was going for. And I'm still very happy about having this new counter set. They are so nice. And I am just thrilled about it. So getting some blinds over on the curtains. These ones are from the My First Pet Stuff pack. I used quite a bit of My First Pet Stuff in this build. And so I apologize if you do not own that one. However, it does have a lot of pet things in it and like really cutesy pet things. And since I was going for Cutesy Cat Cafe, it felt appropriate. And yeah, this is the kitchen. I keep it pretty simple as far as decorations go. There's like soap by the sink, a little vase, some cutting boards. I also added some additional counter space over here to add some appliances to. So there is a coffee machine, and I also added the new candy making machine. I haven't played with that yet, but I think it's a really cool item. I'm glad to have that. I also ended up using a trash can that came from the Pastel Pop Kit. It has a cat on it, and it was yellow and pink, so it was a no-brainer. I had to absolutely use that here. And then for our table, I thought about using this one, but I ended up actually scaling it down to a smaller table because it was a little bit of a tight fit for your Sims to get around in here. And I only imagine there was one, maybe two Sims living in here outside of a cat. So we didn't really need 4 chairs. So I will be changing that out, but I do end up keeping the chairs and like the decorations. It's just a smaller table, and the table I ended up using is actually from Businesses and Hobbies. So using a new one. I also adore this new plant, this like floor plant that I have over by the couches. I have used it in pretty much every build since this new pack came out, or since I had access to this pack. It is so good. I love that plant. I feel like it's going to be a new staple in like every build. And I apologize in advance because I tend to get stuck on certain items and just love them and overuse them. And that's definitely going to be one of them. Anyway, in the living room space here, I wanted to get an armchair or two over here. The couch itself is from high school years, but these chairs are actually from the Nifty Knitting Stuff pack, but they match really nicely. So I ended up using one purple one over here. We got a lamp in the corner, and then I just wanted to have a TV over here and a place to hang up your coats. And of course, since I imagined there had to be a cat living here, I needed to get a cat tree as well and some artwork on the wall. And I get a couple of pieces of artwork also going up the staircase, and our burglar alarm, of course. For the artwork going up the stairs, I ended up using some from Tiny Living, I'm pretty sure, which I should be grabbing here shortly. I also am using this little table and tray in the living room from Tiny Living. I really love that pack, and the colors and the style of the items really matched nicely with the stuff in Businesses and Hobbies, so it was an obvious choice. And then I just got some more artwork here leaning against the stairs, and then this is the kitty litter box that I end up using in this room. It's just so cute. I felt like it was perfect for this sim, so it's not one of the automatic zap the poop ones, but I figured if it's just one cat living up here with them, maybe it's okay if they have to scoop the litter. Not all of us have those fancy litter boxes. Although, like, in real life, there's not fancy ones that zap poop, but there is, like, the litter robot and things like that. I've never had one of those. I just have a really simple, regular litter box, so I don't know how those are. Let me know what you think of them. Anyway, I am just getting a couple more decorations in here, a place to hang up your robe, and some, like, conditioners and stuff in the actual shower, and there's a lot of mirrors in this apartment. Anytime I had an empty wall, I was like, a wall mirror would be really nice here, not thinking that I already had them. And I don't own a wall mirror in real life. I do have a new like floor length or full length, I don't know what you call it, mirror that I got because I thought it was really nice. But I've never had like a full length one on the wall. I feel like that's a common thing I do in my Sims builds, but I don't ever have in real life. Anyway, this is the only bedroom. I have a nice comfy bed in here, the new one that came with Businesses and Hobbies, and then I added a little desk nook over here. There's a cat calendar, there's cat statues, there's this little like corkboard thing that also has some kitties on it. I just kind of went all out with that, and I wanted like a couple of touches of like coastal decor since we are in Brindleton Bay, and I feel like this build kind of matches the style of this area a little bit. So I do have the lighthouse like lamp, and I also have these beautiful Tiffany lamps over by the bed, and I'm just grabbing a mailbox outside the front door. And then we're moving upstairs, which this is pretty much just like a storage space. So I put a lot of like old furniture, some like stains and cobwebs. I put some newspapers over in the corner, thinking maybe some of the cats sneak up here and started peeing in the corner. So they put down newspapers and eventually ended up putting a litter box over there as well. I feel like the cats would probably enjoy being up here, and there ends up being a couple of cat toys as well. I liked the story of that. But that is pretty much it for this build. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And a massive thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.